Bear down, Bears fans. Another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat the designer, Shea Norling back at it on another Monday. Another heartbreak Monday, another letdown Monday. But a Monday that Caleb Williams looked good on a Sunday after. And at this point, Shea, that's a win in my book.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think it's actually a victory Monday.
Is this a victory Monday? Are we calling that?
I had fun watching Caleb Williams be clutch. Again, that's all he does.
Throwing some attaboys out there. I don't think Thomas Brown would agree.
That's fine. He shouldn't. And Caleb shouldn't.
Yeah.
And everybody in the Bears organization should not agree that it's a victory Monday. They should view it as a defeat Monday. But I can feel the way I want to feel. And as a fan, yesterday for me was a win.
Yeah.
You got certainty again on the head coach because that defense is hot ass.
And dare I say, quit on him a little bit? Maybe a little quit in him?
I won't say it. I think it's hard to quit when you're being put in bad positions. Soft coverage and overtime, it's a joke.
That was crazy.
The defensive, it's not like I'm not saying that the players are bad. I'm saying the scheme is bad. That's a different thing. So again, like you got to see Caleb deliver the mail in the fourth quarter, 11 points in 22 seconds, and tie the game, send it to overtime. Yeah, the sack that he took, I don't want to spend a ton of time on it, might have been the worst sack I've ever seen taken in the history of the National Football League. Like that was bad. That was bad. I think you're going a little high on that,
dude. You're going a little high on that one,
dude.
That was horrible.
I don't think I've ever in my life watched a quarterback stand in the backfield, stare down the guy who wants to take his head off, not move, and then run towards the guy who wants to take his head off.
I was shocked when he got sacked on that because I was just like, well, he's clearly faster than Grenard. He should be able to get it. Wait, he caught him? Like there was so much open space over here. Or just throw the ball away. Or just throw the football
This is what
away.
You and I talked about like 3-4 weeks ago, whenever the Patriots game, and I said, man, a lot of those sacks were on him. The worst sack yesterday was on him, 100%.
And I'm sure he of course he knows it, but I'm sure Thomas Brown probably is giving him an earful about that one today.
Yeah, as he should.
He should.
I think, you know what happened? You got a guy who just scored 11 points in 22 seconds who feels like he's walking on air.
Yeah.
Like he had to have felt like God in that moment. And he's back in a USC jersey in the Pac-12. And he's goofing around, hero ball, loop-de-loops in the backfield. And he thought he could win. But it turns out in the NFL, the other guys are talented too.
Yeah.
This isn't some bum from UCLA.
Yeah, there's no accountants on the other side.
Yeah,
and
none of these guys are selling insurance.
It's so funny you bring up that because when I watched that play, when I watched the overtime, I was at the Carmen and Yurko remote that they just did up in Northbrook, I think it was, and I on the TV screen they had Caleb Williams versus UCLA 2 years ago. Jordan Addison's on the team, same play, drop back, got to be Superman, got to make a play. Jordan Addison's down there somewhere eventually because he's an NFL wide receiver versus some dude that's an athletic trainer now. Jordan Addison gets open. Caleb finds him in the end zone. Touchdown. USC wins. When the pressure turns up, Caleb Williams sometimes, and it seems like yesterday in the most important moment of that game, he reverts back to where he's comfortable. And where he's comfortable is backyard football. Where he's comfortable is making the magical plays, going out there and being Superman, if you will. And that just doesn't work in the NFL. But outside of that, I mean, listen, this is where I wanted to start today. Shea, the Chicago Bears have a quarterback. And
100%.
there is no question in my mind. And if you leave this season, here's the one thing we couldn't do last year that we can do this year. The questions on Flus are no different. Literally, we left last season like, this dude loses your games. He's kind of, they went on a run, but like, was it him or did the players figure it out? Like, what's going on here? I'm in the same spot this season, except I now know Matt Eberflus is losing you games. He's a generational loser on the football field. That's what you get. But last season, the entire city debating Justin Fields, Caleb Williams, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. There's no debate. This kid's a football player. This kid's a quarterback, and he's a dang good one. He gets the football out of his hand quick. He finds his receivers. He throws the football. I saw somebody tweet out Jay Cutler 2.0 yesterday. I almost had a stroke. because of how, like, he's throwing the football through defenders as they're diving at it. He's hitting his receivers in stride. How he even the decision making of Thomas Brown, and of course to go into it, Caleb Williams on the field, to just say we're going to go to Keenan Allen a lot because they're going to put their worst DB on him all day. I think Keenan, you can catch a couple more of those. I'd feel better about it. But I found my guy. I found the mismatch. What we said the Bears should be able to do all season, they were able to do versus one of the best defenses in the NFL. You have a quarterback, and there is zero doubt in my mind that this kid is the franchise quarterback Chicago has been looking for since day one. I mean, he breaks the rookie passing record yesterday, Shea, and he tied the rookie touchdown record. Do you know who set that record?
Had Trubisky.
No.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I knew he had the yardage record.
He's got the yardage record. Tied the touchdown record. Do you know who had that record before Caleb Williams will eventually break it, hopefully this season? If you pull this, I'll buy you dinner.
Sid Luckman.
No. Right era, though.
Jesus.
Let me hit you with a 1942, played one season for the Chicago Bears. A Charlie O'Rourke for you.
Oh, there you go.
11 touchdowns. I'm pretty sure he was a punter at one point.
Charlie O'Rourke.
Charlie O'Rourke.
There's Charlie O'Rourke.
Hey,
his 13th touchdown of the season.
Shea threw a total of 88 passes that season.
Jesus.
That's who set your touchdown record. Caleb Williams has just tied that with 11.
The Bears, they don't drop back to pass very often, but when they do, Charlie O'Rourke, the good man, drops back and finds a target down the field. It's Jimmy Steeltoes. Jimmy Steeltoes makes the catch, and the Bears have scored a touchdown. They're up 7-3.
Jimmy Steeltoes, 4-7-40.
Minute 40 to play in the fourth. Bears lead 7-3. Jimmy Steeltoes caught a touchdown pass from Charlie O'Rourke, the Irishman.
Yeah. When I saw that yesterday, I was just like, that's where it's been. But from that moment to today, you can say for the first time, at least in my lifetime, maybe some people feel Jim McMahon was that. I think Jim McMahon was a good quarterback. I don't know if he was a franchise guy, but you definitely could have won a lot with him, and you did win a lot with him. But you've got the guy you can win because, not the guy you can win with, and you should absolutely believe that today.
Yeah, I think, look, here's what happened for me yesterday. You became the single most attractive head coaching spot in the NFL. It's you. And I'm going to run you through some of them. The Jets, please. Just stop.
Yeah.
I don't even need to go through it.
Yeah.
What a disaster.
Yeah.
New England, I think, can challenge you, but they need to actually move on from Mayo, and I'm not convinced they will. So I'm not even including them in the conversation.
They also got to up the talent a lot, but I love Drake May.
Cincinnati, no. I'll stop you right there. T. Higgins is going to walk. I don't buy that they're going to pay Jamar Chase. They got real problems in ownership. You can do your own research on that. Yeah. But they have real problems. Cleveland, yeah, you got $170 million sunk into a dead person. Best of luck.
But we got Jameis Winston.
You want to sell me? Hey, the Lord has blessed me with the ability to play in the snow.
Hey, listen. He gonna make a movie. You know what I love about that? Today we laugh. 30 years from now, they're gonna slap some good music on that, and we're gonna be like, "This dude is the most motivational quarterback of all time."
Jacksonville, please.
Gross.
Just paid Trevor Lawrence. More questions than answers.
Another dead guy.
Yeah. Vegas, nope. I'm out.
Shador, maybe? If Shador goes there, maybe?
But you got to get the number one pick.
Got to get the number one overall pick.
And if you get Shador, is your head coach automatically Dion? Like, there becomes even more questions.
That'll be interesting.
The New York Football Giants. Anybody familiar with how they run their operation under John Mara?
Yeah.
He is everything you think about George McCaskey times 10.
You said we didn't give Daniel Jones the opportunity, so you let Saquon Barkley walk.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you're watching him possibly become a running back who may win MVP.
Like I'm making. If I'm Bears fans, you think you got problems with ownership?
Yeah.
Try being a New York Football Giant. Nobody in the NFC North is going to open up. Saints already have opened up, but please, Derek Carr.
Yeah.
Like, it's you. You are the team that has a player currently in the NFL on a rookie contract that is proving on a week-to-week basis he is capable of being a superstar. if any head coach that is looking for a job pops the film on from yesterday's game and watches Caleb Williams, who posted the third highest passer rating of any quarterback that has faced the Brian Flores defense all season, behind only Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, they are going to be jumping over each other.
And the Goff
one, chance to coach this team.
Is that his 85-yard game? The Goff one's kind of like
he was good.
Was he cooking that guy? I'm trying to remember who he threw 85 yards and 3 touchdowns against.
That was
because that to me is there's one of those in there where I was like,
Goff was 22 of 25 for 280 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's a day. Yeah, that's a day.
Yeah, he ripped the Flores defense apart.
Yeah.
Stafford ripped the Flores defense apart. Caleb Williams ripped the Flores defense apart. And that is kind of like, if you talk to people who know what they're talking about, who do the film study, who are in the league, the Brian Flores defense has kind of become the dividing line between, are you a good quarterback or are you just a guy?
Yeah.
And if you're one of the quarterbacks where Flores clearly game plans a little harder for you, he did for Caleb.
Yeah.
And clearly shows you respect, and you still shred him, you're a guy. You're not just a quarterback. You're not just the next in a run of Trubisky's and Fields. You are a superstar potential quarterback. And
it's so funny. Last week, I think we kind of touched on it. We didn't go in depth in the conversation about when Ben Slowick put out the grades of kind of where the quarterbacks are and who's 1, who's 2, who's 3, who's 4. When I watched yesterday's game, and I think this is going to be a theme, at least I'm hoping with Thomas Brown at the helm for the rest of the season, is you see a quarterback versus the best part of the schedule versus the toughest defenses that any quarterback is going to face in a row. I mean, maybe San Fran's come back to earth a little bit now. Yeah, I mean, a lot of bit now. A lot of injuries over there.
Yeah, it's not really their fault,
but
yeah,
a lot of injuries. But in a row, you're facing good defense after good defense after good defense, and Caleb Williams is showing you his best football of the season. He's showing you he's his most comfortable. He's showing you for the 4th time this season in the clutch, when you need me to go down here and make a play, you can do it. Shea, I've been a Bears fan my whole life. I've never seen a quarterback do that. I have never seen I've seen Jay Cutler lead game-winning drives. I have. I have not seen a quarterback lead multiple game-winning drives in a single season in my life.
Now, obviously, I wasn't alive in the 80s. I wasn't alive in the 70s.
Killing teams then. We didn't need as many game-winning drives.
I know, but I'm going to say something that I think is a little iffy.
Yeah.
Kyle Brandt said something preseason, and it was, I think, the deep ball to Roma Dunze, and Kyle Brandt was like, that might already be the best pass in the history of Chicago Bears football.
Yeah.
The pass with 22 seconds left in the game
to
DJ Moore might be the greatest pass in Chicago Bears football history, which says more about the history than it does about the pass.
Yeah.
But that is not a common
By the
throw.
way, top 4 on that list is Jay Cutler to Devin Aroma should do for us not to make the playoffs.
Actually,
by the way. So I'm not going to lie to you. It's my favorite Chicago Bears game outside of the Arizona game. Just because it was like with my dad, like there was like we were doing something. So it was like, oh, I'm spending time with my dad, and then the Bears won. And it was like, I can't believe this. We're out of the playoffs, actually. Wait a minute. Like nothing good happened from this.
There were 3 throws yesterday where my jaw, 4 actually, but one of them didn't count.
Yeah.
My jaw basically hit my desk. Sitting at home watching the game. And I've got my notepad. I got all the things.
Yeah.
The throw to Keenan Allen before the rollout throw to Swift that everybody keeps replaying, where he just fit it through a window that didn't exist, like a absolute missile.
Yeah.
And I was amazed. One, Keenan didn't drop it because he basically got screened. Forgive me. I forget who the corner was that dove after it. I thought for sure that ball was
Thought it was a pick.
And when it got through and Keenan took off, the cameraman thought it was a pick too, by the way.
He definitely went left and it was that. Yeah.
When it got through, Keenan took off running. I said, my God. And then they showed it on the back view, like from the end zone. That throw was so good. And was it risky? Yes. Could you throw a pick on that? Yes. But this is what I've asked for all season. Throw that pass.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
Trust that you can make it and take that chance because it'll pay off. Then he's got the rollout where he's on the run to the sideline, drops a dime in the bucket between the defense for DeAndre Swift. That throw was insane. And then to force overtime, stepping up in the pocket against a Flores blitz and ripping a piss missile to DJ Moore. Sets you up in field goal range, sends you to overtime. That throw is rare. That is elite quarterback throw. That's a throw Justin Fields can't make in his dreams. It's a throw Trubisky couldn't make in his dreams. Yeah. It's a throw, name your average QB. Sam Darnold ain't making that throw. That was rare.
But he can make all the underneath ones because you're playing such a soft defense.
And to do it in bingo. But to do it in that moment is like you have to have it. And it's that thing that's like it's not quantifiable. You either have it or you don't.
And what you've got to coach out of them is what you saw in OT. It's the, hey, you've got all of it. Believe that you've got all of it and trust that.
Yeah.
Trust that if you're in a 3rd and 9 situation, and hey, buddy, you got enough to get 9 yards on this.
The thing, too, is like I don't want him to coach all of it out of him. Being able to extend that play, the way he stepped up, baited pressure, and then got away from it.
When it has to die.
Yeah, it's like extend the play, but know when the extension's over and throw the ball away. Don't try to do too much. Do enough to give yourself a chance and then eject once things are clearly not going your way.
Yeah. No, 100%. I leave this game just with when he made that pass to Keenan Allen, which ends up being out of bounds, right? But
that was the 4th throw. Yeah. Because that was insane.
Because he put it literally, when you talk about put the ball where only your receiver can make a play at it, that was a time where it was, that may be one of the first times we've seen that since he tried to throw the pass to Rome. That was double covered where Rome goes up, bounces off his face, hits him in the hands and the face, and it ends up being an interception. That may be the first time we've seen him just say, this is for you. If you make the play, you make the play. If you don't, we live to fight another day. And it was so on point. It was just, hey, Keenan, get the feet in. I thought Keenan Allen did as good of a job as you can.
Yeah.
That's a call that goes the wrong way for you. But the thought that I had when he made that throw, I want to say it was Brett Favre that said this. He talked about the difference between good QBs and great QBs. He's like, an okay QB quarterback can throw a football through the door. A good QB can hit the doorknob. A great QB can hit the keyhole. I watched Caleb Williams hit the keyhole 6 times yesterday.
Yep.
And I'm talking about literally like people diving like I should have a pick on this play, hit the keyhole. If that doesn't leave you feeling good about where you are at the quarterback position right now, I don't know what to tell you. Like there's, every fan base has a group of fans, right? There's the fans that whatever the team does, they're just like, I'm going to trust my team. There's the fans that whatever the team does, they're like, we're going to lose. Then there's the fans that's like, all right, we got to ride the ebbs and flows of this. If you're mad about anywhere where Caleb Williams is at right now, you just want your team to be bad no matter what. You want to complain about something. You want to have something to be upset about. There's plenty to be upset about, but if you're thinking the quarterback's not it after that game versus literally one of the best defenses, which when he was doing it versus the Jaguars, when he was doing it versus the Panthers, everybody was like, it's not versus real defense. It doesn't matter. What's the excuse now? This kid can play.
It was against the best defense. It was against the defense that's used as a measuring stick for the level of a quarterback.
No interceptions. They lead the NFL in interception.
He's gone nearly 200 pass attempts without an interception.
He went a long time without touchdowns, too. So it's good to get the touchdowns in there as well.
And again, I've been critical of him avoiding interceptions to the extent that he was throwing uncatchable passes.
Yeah.
That has seemingly, with the Thomas Brown adjustment, gone away. So we'll see if this continues, then you're sitting on a superstar and you will be the most attractive head coaching destination in the NFL next season.
You bring up the Thomas Brown connection, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. You bring up the Thomas Brown connection, and this has been the biggest topic of conversation. Caleb Williams, I think he did 2 things yesterday. Number one, when he talked about Thomas Brown, I think he said a word that we can clearly see that Matt Eberflus doesn't have. He said, what's so different about Thomas Brown? He said his aura. He exudes the confidence. He exudes this culture that we have to fall in line with. I don't think that's your head coach. I think your head coach has the aura of a loser. 2-9 in challenges, Shea. And a thing that should be 50-50 more times than not. You're 2-9. Just like throwing the challenge. Are we close on that? No? Dang it again. Like,
I don't
it's
know who's telling him
bad.
when to throw these.
It's impressive. I think it's just him. I think he's like, should I do it? Like, I don't know if there's an eye in the sky. Because if there is, he should have been fired 3 years ago. But that's a whole different conversation. But on top of that, you also confirmed yesterday your head coach, when the moments their biggest, will absolutely do everything he can to put you in a bad position. He brought up the 4th down play where you're trying to get the ball to Keenan Allen. Caleb basically said, we didn't know we're running the play. We don't have the play in. The field goal unit's coming on. We're running off. Then all of a sudden it's communicated, no, we're going for it. Now we're rushing. Thomas Brown is now calling the play in. Caleb's rush. He doesn't hear the play the right way, calls the play wrong, tries to get it to his best playmaker because he realizes he calls the play wrong, and it's an incomplete pass. That, to me, is a microcosm of what Matt Eberflus is with this team right now. And we have the answer on him. If that is the case, what you've seen out of Thomas Brown, does Thomas Brown deserve a chance this season to try and coach this team? Because you have an opportunity that no other team is going to have. You may have found your diamond in the rough, if you want to call it that. Your quarterback believes in this guy. Your offense believes in this guy. Seems like everybody who's around this guy believes in this guy. If you go into Detroit and what happens, what we think is going to happen, happens, I think that's a great time to say, you know what, Flus, welcome to being you've made history yet again. You're the first coach the Chicago Bears have ever fired in season. I want to see 5 games of Thomas Brown coaching this team. Just to see, are we about to let somebody walk out of this door who's the answer we need? Or is that just a Bears cop-out yet again?
No, I think whether or not he deserves the chance, he's going to get it. I do.
You think Flus becomes first coach fired in the season?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're at that point. I don't think you're going to win at Detroit. I think it's probably going to be a little more competitive than people think. Like, I think everybody's walking in and saying 52-14 or something crazy. I don't think that's going to happen. But I do think the fact that you have the mini bye after the game, it just, the timing works. And I kind of just, you have to show that there will be some change. Something's going to be different. And Thomas Brown has clicked with the locker room for whatever reason. I'm not saying that you make him the head coach going forward, but you gain really nothing by keeping Eberflus until January. You also gain really nothing by firing him other than we're showing that we're going to take things a little more seriously.
Well, I think you get the opportunity to take a look and see what does you at the helm look like. Very similar to what you saw
it's an audition,
with Antonio Pierce. You know what I mean?
But that scares me because what has happened with Antonio Pierce?
Well, Antonio Pierce came into a season where they were like, your quarterback's Gardner Minshew.
I understand.
That's a tough task to overcome.
I understand it's a different context, but how often do we see, like, the one fear I do genuinely have is that the interim becomes the head coach.
Yeah.
That typically doesn't go very well.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. But I think, and this is just for this season. Here's the thing. Where I'm at right now, I love everything Thomas Brown has done for 2 weeks. I think that he's called some really good plays. I see more times than not, we've talked about Caleb missing than Thomas Brown not having guys for Caleb to hit there. That excites me when I see an offensive coordinator calling plays. I would rather have guys that I know are leaders of men. I think that Thomas Brown is a good leader of men. I think he's a good coordinator. I don't know if that translates to head coach because guess what? I think Matt Eberflus is a good defensive coordinator. Yesterday didn't help. But I do think I do think more times than not, Flus is going to give you a defense that can compete, that is going to be top 10 to 5 in the NFL. That means you're probably a little bit good at your job as a coordinator. He's a bad head coach. Like those things, more times than not, end up being true. Great coordinators, more times than not, don't become great head coaches.
Well, if all the proof is in the pudding on the head coaching, and I think people get stuck in the mud about decisions like the 2-point conversion, which we can talk about if you want.
Yeah.
I thought it was
I'm not
right.
that mad at that.
The thing that made me, that really bothered me is you have the punt muff, which to me does come down to coaching. Somebody's got to be telling DeAndre Carter, get away from the football. You've got the blocked field goal, which I think does come down to coaching, when you don't make an adjustment on your protection and everybody's aware that Cairo Santos has a weak leg and he's going to drill a line drive.
Almost got the second one blocked, too.
That I do think is a coaching thing.
Yeah.
The other thing that's a coaching thing, and I thought was by far the most egregious mistake, when you have your offense running off the field for the field goal unit and Cairo's halfway on the field, and then you late communicate we're going for it, and your offense goes back out and they're rushing a play call that they're getting late, they have to get out of the huddle late, everything's late, timing's off, rhythm's off, all of it. Hey, here's an idea.
Yeah.
Call a fucking timeout.
And here's the problem. Caleb already had it. They already told him, you can't burn a timeout here. He said that. He's like, we knew we can't burn a timeout because we may need them later in the game. It took a miracle for you to have an opportunity to come back later in the game. You're in the red zone. You're one of the top teams in the red zone. You probably need to burn that time out there and not worry about, well, we only have 2 going towards the end of the game. By the way, if there's a decision, Shea, if there's any decision, you got 1 timeout. It's all but guaranteed you're about to lose this game because Matt Eberflus isn't coaching the Vikings. Why not ice the kicker? Just burn it. Instead, he calls it right after the play is over to stop the clock. Thanks, Flus.
Yeah, I just
appreciate that.
The timeout usage is really bad.
It's horrible.
The idea that we might need them later, so we got to hold on to them. Well, now you're overcorrecting from mistakes you've made previously.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to sit here and say it's a good use of a timeout to mistake what unit's going to be on the field and get a late offensive call and call a timeout so that you can run a better play. That's a bad use of a timeout.
Yeah.
That decision should have been made a while ago. To not use one at all is totally inexcusable.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. Give yourself the best chance to run a successful play. Now, that's where my anger lies. My frustration with the head coach.
He would rather rush it than take the time.
2 things: timeout usage,
yeah,
and your defense is baby shit soft. The idea that in overtime, when all they need is a field goal, we're going to run soft zones with 4-man rushes, and you give up a 3rd and 13, a 3rd and 12, a 3rd and 10, and allow them to erase a 1st and 20 in 2 plays. Why? Because you bring no pressure.
Yeah.
Like, dude, it's Sam Darnold. We're not talking about Joe Montana sitting in the backfield ready to rip your head off. It's Sam Darnold.
It's Sam Darnold with a backup left tackle at this point. The second the backup left tackle is in, how about we bring a little pressure?
Even the one play Sam Darnold came off the field and you've got a backup quarterback in. No blitz. What?
Dog, that one to me has sent me through a while. And see, this is the thing, because we can go through every mistake Flus has made. It doesn't matter. Thomas Brown's aura that Caleb Williams talked about, Matt Eberflus is losing. He loses. He's got a losing record in challenges. He's got a losing record in 1-score games. He's never won on Sunday on the road. He's a loser. I'm talking about on the field. He loses football games. He is a loser. He has a losing mindset on the field. That's who he is. We're done asking questions on that. That's who he is.
Okay, granted, can I give you 2 things he did where I thought he had a winning mentality? Just 2 moments.
Going forward on 4th?
4th and 3.
Yeah.
You could have kicked the field goal and tried the onside kick early, and then you still need the touchdown in 2. I thought it was a winning mentality to go on 4th and 3. We're going to get this here. We're going to lose the game.
Yeah.
I also thought the first 2-point conversion, and I want to address this because I brought it up and I said it, I thought it was right, and I can already hear the YouTube comments. Explain it, moron. So I will. It's basic math. The goal of the game is what?
Score more points.
Win.
Yeah.
Right? That's the goal. You enter a football game, your goal is to win it. When you're down 8 after scoring a touchdown, you can kick the extra point. That maximizes your opportunity to what?
Win.
No, get to overtime.
Oh, that, yes. Yeah.
Or you can go for 2. That maximizes your opportunity to win.
Yes.
Because the next trip, if you get a stop and a score, all you need is the extra point to take a lead. Your win probability jumps to about 70%.
Yeah.
It's a massive difference mathematically. Whether or not you agree with it is a different conversation.
Yeah.
But 32 out of 32 coaches view this decision as a complete slam dunk. And the reason is the math. In overtime,
worst case scenario, you need a 2-point conversion to tie.
Here's the dirty rub on it. You're down 14 points in the 4th quarter. You're probably not winning the game anyway.
Yeah.
So if you go for 2, you significantly increase your chance of winning. You cannot enter that assuming you won't get the 2-point conversion. Yeah. If you operate thinking this play will fail, you've already lost. So going for it is the right process, because in overtime in the regular season, you aren't even guaranteed a possession. What's the easier path? Score, 2-point, stop, score, win, or score, extra point, stop, score, extra point, coin toss, stop, score, win.
Yeah.
Or the vice versa. You like the coin toss is the biggest factor there.
Yeah.
Because people can say, well, it's a coin flip difference on the win probability. No, it's literally a coin flip on who gets the first possession, the only guaranteed possession of overtime. In the playoffs, if you're down 14 in the fourth and you score a touchdown, I would never advocate going for 2 because you do have a guaranteed possession in overtime. In the regular season, it is an absolute no-brainer.
No, yeah, I agree. I thought that was, I can understand going for both, but I thought that he made the right decision because no matter what, you still got the opportunity to tie, which you did.
I was the most happy that it was made a moot point by the fact that they came back because I didn't want to spend 3 hours debating it today.
Yes. No, I agree with you there.
I don't want to debate math. Please. You don't have to agree with the decision. I'm just explaining the math of it and the fact, whether you like it or not, 32 out of 32 coaches are making that decision.
Yeah, that's a smart decision. It's the analytical decision, but I'm not mad at the decision. I understand it. And to me, like, the problem is, Shea, those are too far and few between. And so it's just,
of course,
it's time for me in my mind to say, you've got an opportunity no other team's going to have. Because here's what's going to happen if you keep this going and things stay status quo. Thomas Brown keeps the offense running well. You've got Matt Eberflus. What happens when coaches develop quarterbacks in Chicago? They usually get head coaching jobs. They usually get them fairly quick, and they last a while. We've only seen one dude kind of do it, and it basically was just making Jay Cutler.
Freudian slip.
Oh, watch yourself now. Basically making Jay Cutler throw less interceptions. Adam Gase got 2 jobs because of that. He got 2 jobs because of it, Shea. Miami and the Jets. So you're telling me
I'm the coach of the Jets.
I'm the coach.
Guy was nodding his head like Hillary Clinton.
That edible was working that day, boy.
His intro presser looked like a failed presidential candidate. Holy smokes.
That was terrifying. I hate that you unlocked that memory for me.
What a trip.
But no, like you're going to lose Thomas Brown for nothing. I would rather you see, is this guy something? I don't believe that when people are like, he's Mike Tomlin 2.0. I think that goes a little far. I'm like, it feels like you kind of look at him, you see larger eyes, black guy with a beard that talks in absolutes, and you're going, that's Mike Tomlin. I don't know if I follow that line of thinking there, Shea. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if I'm going down that road with him. But what I will say is, you've seen the buy-in. You've seen a clear difference from one coach to another. Yesterday on the pregame show, hearing Flus kind of talk about, Thomas Brown, it kind of felt like he was trying to be a little defensive. He was like, it's an us thing. It's not just Thomas.
Oh, well, okay.
One guy stepped in and all of a sudden it's different. So
and it's fine.
It might be.
Make it an us thing. Y'all lose together then.
Yeah, 100%.
What do you want to do?
100%. But I would rather take the chance to see, do you got something here before the season is over? Then just ride with Flus the rest of the way. And you lose this guy, he goes and becomes a head coach, and we're sitting here in a Bruce Arians situation.
I don't think there's any advantage to keeping Flus. Yeah. And I don't know what the advantage really is to getting rid of him, but I do think it's going to happen. I do think that they want to stress that they are behaving differently, that they are going to make difficult decisions. Just, again, my fear remains, if you want to give Thomas Brown the audition, it better be damn good. It better be undeniable if you're going to make him the head coach.
It has to be Arians. It can't be Pierce, right? Pierce was what? He was 3-3 in a bad situation to finish out the season. I think it was last season. Yeah, I mean, like, it was, everybody rocked with him. Also, Max Crosby was like, that's my head coach. And if you don't bring him back, I'm out of here. And they're like, well, we're not going to get rid of him. So
if you want to bring Thomas Brown back, you're going to be 4-8 after the Lions game. We assume if you lose to the Lions, that's the final nail. I need you to
You got to finish 9-8.
What? Oh boy!
For me to bring Thomas Brown back,
I think 8-9 at worst.
8-9 at worst. Sure, you lose one game.
You've got to get through this tough part of the schedule and prove to me that this coach and this team will win, and then I'll go, okay, he's done enough. But it's got to be insane.
But you got to think about that too, though, Shea. If he goes 9-8 or 8-9, either way, you would assume he's beating the Lions once.
No, he would. He would have done it.
He's beating the Lions. He's beating the Vikings. He's beating the Packers.
Yeah.
Maybe the Packers game is the one you lose. And maybe that's the one that makes or breaks it. But
well, you would win. You would effectively win 5 out of 6 games against the Lions, Vikings, Packers, Seahawks, and Niners.
Yeah.
4 playoff teams and a team that's playoff caliber, but full of dead people.
Yeah. And so that to me, that opens the conversation. Now, here's where I'm at with it, though. I've seen Mike Vrabel be a leader of men. He was a quarterback away. We got the quarterback. Maybe go out and find I don't know if you can find another Derrick Henry. But I know that he can do this job. Literally what stopped him from being good was Ryan Tannehill. We were just like, well, he got the best out of Ryan Tannehill. Never thought that we'd see this. And then he was 34 the next season.
But the one thing I'm not going to do, Pat, is sit here and be like, Thomas Brown should be the head coach. I'm never going to get there.
I'm not guaranteeing.
Because the thing for me is you just have to get the right guy.
Yeah.
And I don't know who that is. Now, I like Ben Johnson. And I think if Ben Johnson does come here, you get kind of a potential interesting middle ground where maybe Thomas Brown is okay sticking on as offensive coordinator. It'd be tough to be here and not call plays. But don't forget, that's how he started the season.
Yeah.
So if Ben Johnson's coming in, he's going to be the play caller, and there's an agreement dude, Thomas Brown, you know the quarterback, you know the vibe in the room. I need somebody here to keep the continuity. Be my OC. I'm calling plays. Make no mistake, but be my OC. I'm cool with it.
I don't know if you get that opportunity.
I would just say
that's the only thing about it. And that's the one thing I say, because if we're having the conversation on Thomas Brown as a possible head coach, things went well.
Sure. The broader point I'm making,
well, he's probably getting a head coaching job somewhere where Patriots, maybe, honestly.
The broader point I'm making is don't allow a success end for Thomas Brown preclude you from going after someone else.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. I think that's going to be major. I was shocked this morning, and appreciate you guys tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page. I was shocked this morning. I was listening to before Cap and J Hood came on, and I heard Chris Canty make a case for Flus.
You should have seen, dude. I was up.
I
don't want to bury a teammate.
I have to get into this. I have to get into this with you.
I was up here prepping the show, and I'm listening to Unsportsmanlike 5 to 7 a.m. ESPN Chicago. Great show. Check it out.
It is phenomenal.
And I heard Chris Canty talk about how if the Bears can finish 7-10, they should keep Matt Eberflus because continuity is the most important thing. And I think my eyes did a complete 360-degree roll. They went up. I looked at my brain.
And SpongeBob did a little bit.
My brain was leaking out of my ears hearing the opinion. And then I saw it with my eyes. And then my eyes went back the other way. And I was looking at the world again. And then I bounced my skull off the desk. You cannot keep Matt Eberflus. No disrespect to Chris Canty. I understand continuity is important. You cannot keep him. He is atrocious as a football coach.
We talk about generational talents. He is a generational loser. I've never seen somebody lose like this. It's impressive. That's why you call somebody generational, right? Caleb Williams was deemed generational for those throws that we saw yesterday. DeAndre Swift, he's flipping it like this. It's amazing. And I've never seen a head coach lose games like this, Shea. Consistently.
In my mind, one-score games in the NFL are by nature fluky. The Chiefs are 8-1 or 8-0 in one-score games this season. All they do is play one-score games. Yeah. Do I think that's going to bite them in the ass in the playoffs? I do, yeah. I know it's the Kansas City Chiefs, but I've seen it with the Vikings. I've seen it with other teams. When you live on the edge of a coin flip and winning one-score games, I do believe that bites you in the ass when things get real.
Was 11-5 that year, I think.
The team was
one-score
when they lost to the Giants.
When they lost to the Giants,
they were 13-3.
13-3.
And they were 12-1 in one-score games.
And they exactly. And the entire time we were was that Kirk Cousins or was that
Kirk.
Was that Bradford?
No, that was Kirk.
Was that Kirk Cousins? Yeah. I just remember we went into the playoffs and I was like,
my bad. I tried to turn my mic off and I didn't.
You sniffed right in.
Yeah, that was nasty. Go ahead. Action. My apologies.
But no, like I agree with you. It's completely fluky, but it's not here. That's when you know. The stats that we put out about Matt Eberflus aren't fluky, Shea. There's data to prove he's going to lose. You have to realize that. You have to recognize that as a front office. You can't. And when I heard it this morning, I was very similar to you. You ever have, I do this way too often. You ever have those office moments, like The Office, where like you hear something?
Yeah. I know
and
what you're talking
you look
about.
into a camera that's not there.
Yep.
I'm literally this morning, I'm making my coffee. I'm like, all right, we got to prep for the morning breeze. We're going to talk about this. Okay, boom, boom, boom. And I heard him go, I can make the case for Matt Eberflus to stay at 7-10. And I literally looked up and like looked to my left. Nobody's there. It's just me. And I'm looking into this imaginary camera as if like Michael Scott's behind me doing the Chris Rock bit on the difference between black people and one of the greatest bits ever on The Office and from Chris Rock. Like, I'm literally just like befuddled as I listen to him make a case. And you know what it says? And it's no disrespect to Chris Canty. You're doing a national show. But it's what I say about most people when they try to zero in on a town and they don't pay attention to the ins and outs of everything. You don't see everything that's happened here. That is the reason that people are trying to get Matt Eberflus out.
Yeah. And continuity is not good enough of a reason to stick around. And I bring up the one-score game fluke thing because, like you said, he's going to lose, and there's a context around it. It's not like, oh, you're just getting the coin keeps coming up wrong, which I fear is the approach sometimes at Ellis Hall is we're close and the coins just we're calling heads and it's coming up tails.
Yeah.
No, it's when you have a Hail Mary against you where you don't call a timeout, and we've seen that same play with two other teams at least. I've seen it with two other teams.
Yeah.
Both teams called timeout ahead of the Hail Mary. Both teams. You didn't. When you rush 4 on a Hail Mary, 3 actually, because you're spying somebody. When you rush 3 on a Hail Mary, and then we see 2 successive times and 1 previous where the opposing team rushed 5 on a Hail Mary. And all 3 of those were unsuccessful because the quarterback doesn't have nearly the amount of time to get the pass off. That is on you.
Also,
when I see
didn't give up 15 yards yesterday, and Jaden Daniels didn't have the arm to get it to the end zone.
Bingo. Like when you are willing to give up yardage and say the yards to make this field goal a little bit easier, they're not important to us. We're going to run the clock out. That's on you. You had a timeout in your pocket. You could have done anything you wanted. That is a decision that made it more difficult for you to win the game and made it easier for you to lose. And yesterday, like not taking a timeout on a 4th down when you're rushing your offense, not having the decision already made. Yes, these are 1-score games and you're losing coin flips. The reason is coaching, whether it's lack of protection on a field goal, whether it's a lack of understanding who Cairo Santos is as a kicker, whether it's not using your timeouts when you should, whether it's challenging in horrific spots. 1-score games in the NFL are going to come down to 4, 5, or 6 critical plays.
Yeah.
When those critical plays are mistakes by the coach, that's when you know that guy's not cut out for this.
And that's the biggest thing for me. And that's why, again, it's no disrespect to Chris. He's got a take on it. I think it's wrong because why would you watch the Bears every week? Why would you be locked in on the Bears? If I have a national show, I'm not locked in just on the Chicago Bears. He's watching better football games. He's watching Josh Allen. He's watching Pat Mahomes. But the take, it feels uninformed because you're not paying attention to the ins and outs of this. You want to bring up what happened last year with Justin Fields. I can bring up the fact that last year with Justin Fields, I watched Matt Eberflus blow 2 games because he wanted to drop Justin Jones back into coverage twice. You want to bring up how they went out the season? I can bring up how they lost the most critical games that they needed to win because Matt Eberflus didn't have his team prepared for the moment. I can bring up how, if we're being real, as much as we praise this defense, most of these games they've lost have come down to the defense just being absolute dog water. We can slander Justin Fields for not being able to do it in the fourth quarter. If I got you up 30-something to 3, we should probably win that game. We should be able to turn around and hand the football off and ride it out. And so when I hear people give takes that are uninformed by the ins and outs of what's really happening here in Chicago, I get a little hot and bothered because to me that's putting it out that this dude is doing a good job. And I can give you a 6-page essay on the screw-ups that he's had that have led to your teams losing. How many of the losses do we put on the players, Shea? I mean, of course, you got to play the game, but like in the crunch time moments, how many of the losses was one of your players effed up and made the wrong play? Versus how many of them are your players were put in a bad position?
The one you can point to is Tyreek Stevenson on the Hail Mary. But again, you had a timeout, and every coach in the league is calling that timeout. So that, again, falls to me for coaching. And I think that what Chris Canty's doing, really, and I get it, it's look at the history of the Bears. Trubisky had a coaching change after his rookie year.
Yes.
Fields had a coaching change after his rookie year. I'd also say, why don't we look at the careers of those two quarterbacks? And the fact that, here's the dirty secret that I think most of Chicago is finally ready to open up to. Fields and Trubisky never looked this good.
No.
Look at the players. Maybe the players just aren't very good, because here's a reminder for everybody. Peyton Manning switched coaches.
Yeah.
He had Jim Mora and then he had Tony Dungy.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Yeah.
It's not taboo.
Playoffs.
It's not like it's illegal. You are allowed to change coaches on a quarterback.
But even that to me, right, we're looking at the coach. We're looking at continuity. We're looking at the player. We're looking at what we want the player to become and why continuity is going to get you there. Yeah, that's not the conversation we need to be having here. The conversation we should be having here is Matt Eberflus shouldn't have been here in the first place.
And also,
you put a rookie quarterback with a guy who it feels like the entire time was coaching for his job. You know what that's going to lead to? Safe play calls. That's going to lead to you trying to make sure that your quarterback doesn't screw up, you being here for at least what Cap reported 2 more years. Right? Like you're trying to stay employed with this team. And that happens if you win games. Usually you play it safe. You got a good defense. You're going to win more games than not. Worked for you in the beginning of the season. As the season went on, didn't work so well because you went too safe.
And I think you could also argue continuity might just kill him.
Yeah.
Like, how many quarterbacks have failed in places where they had continuity for 2 or 3 seasons with a head coach? Either the coach wasn't good or they were just a bad player. It's okay to say, like, I get people still get hurt by this. And I'm not saying that the Bears did everything right by Justin Fields. They didn't. But it's also okay to just say Justin Fields wasn't that good.
Yeah.
He wasn't good enough to do it. He wasn't good enough to be that guy. Mitch Trubisky just wasn't that good. It's okay to say it. Caleb, by all appearances, is that good.
Yeah.
So, for the love of God, get a coaching staff around him that he actually deserves. Fair?
Offensive line around him too, please.
Yeah, all of it. Like, do right by this one.
Yeah.
And that does mean move on from the coach.
Yeah.
Because I got to be honest, guys, Caleb so far has gone from a Lincoln Riley offense in college to a Shane Waldron offense in the NFL to a Thomas Brown offense in the NFL. Looks fine to me.
Yeah.
I'm not that worried about changing coaches again.
And that's I said that today too. Like that to me is the difference. He's gone through in a year what Justin Fields went through. Poor offensive line, center that's literally getting thrown around, Braxton Jones being thrown in your lap at any given moment. Who, by the way, he was better yesterday, but he's still not good.
So, yeah,
he's still not good. So, like, you've got this offensive line struggling in front of your quarterback. I said this coming into the season. I said it week 2, Shea. You put Caleb Williams in the same situation you put Justin Fields in. Yet at this point in the season, Caleb Williams is breaking rookie passing records. Caleb Williams is tying rookie touchdown records for the Chicago Bears. Caleb Williams is leading drives that put you in winning positions. And so for me, you might have found the one guy. And I think if you keep this staff, it's very different. But you might have found the one guy that's Bears proof. You might have found the one guy that you can't break. I was sitting there scared after the 9-sack day versus the Patriots. I'm like, you can destroy any quarterback. You're going to kill this kid. The next 2 weeks, he's like, actually, let me show you how I fight back. I've never seen this from a QB here.
He got up off the mat.
Jay Cutler gets back up, but he goes back down and he makes decisions that kill you. Like, you have to give him, and Ryan Poles, I mean, it's really a conversation to you. You got to give him the best available. You got to go out and spend the money. I don't know what you got to do to crack open the McCaskey's wallet, but you have to be able to go through there and say, he's terrible and we need the best.
What I would do if I were the Bears is I would get in a room with Ben Johnson. I would hand him a checkbook that's blank and signed. And I'd say, put the number you need. And we're going to make it happen. That's it. That's what I would do. And I get people don't want a coordinator or whatever. I don't care. I want the best offensive mind of the best offense of the last 3 seasons in this room. And then I want Ryan Poles to go out in the draft. You're going to have a top 10 pick. Get me Will Campbell from LSU.
Yeah.
Make another move.
Like a Will Campbell.
Get another offensive lineman.
Yeah.
You've got 2 second-round picks. Get another offensive lineman. You just throw darts at a board.
Or maybe do a little more than that. But,
No, but you get
maybe do a little more breakdown than that. But
you get what I'm saying. You take more shots.
You have to come away. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's nothing else I need signed. I would like another defensive end. Sure. You get me one. Develop a kid.
You got more cap than I even thought you did.
Develop somebody. I mean, yeah, Austin Booker here. I like Austin Booker. You drafted him in the 5th. I actually think the kid can play. Put him out there.
Something like $80 million in cap space.
Yeah.
You got the opportunity to go make some things happen. It's just get an offensive line in place.
And don't cheap it. That's the thing. You got the cap space. Shea, you had the cap space this year. Don't go to the bargain bin and say, well, we can get by. And for the love of God, don't you dare sell me on Ryan Bates. I'll say, well, he was injured, so he didn't get a chance. He looked bad when he was out there. like I'm watching him at right guard, the position he played, and I'm like, he's getting thrown around.
Yeah, I know. And I also know I can hear, I'm going to do this again because once again, I can hear the YouTube comments. Will Campbell looks like shit, you idiot. Go watch him last year with Jaden Daniels and tell me that he ain't a player.
Yeah.
This year is a little different because I know people watch the highlights and they go, Will Campbell looks like trash. Well, yeah, he's got 3 freshmen basically on the interior of his line. It's him and another NFL tackle on the other side, and everybody else is a young kid that's inexperienced and doesn't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Will Campbell's just fine.
And here's the thing.
In fact, it's probably a bonus because he's going to be
going to go later.
The 10th or 11th pick in the draft instead of the 3rd.
Yeah, no, he's going to go later. Now, and the one thing for me is just don't overbelieve. I think that's the problem the Bears had. They overbelieved in the talent that they had here. Just because you have a talent at a position don't mean you can't go get better. When Lance was on here with us, man, he talked about it all the time. He said they drafted linebackers every year to replace me. They would go out. Lance Briggs is going to be in the Hall of Fame. They drafted people every year to try and replace me. They're trying to get better. If they can find better, they will go with better.
Yep.
You should go with better. I don't care if Karan Amagaji's a piece. He can swing. Like, maybe he's good, maybe he's not. I'll tell you what, didn't look great when he went out there. Looked like a developmental piece that you took in the 3rd round.
Yep.
Go get better. Go get the best that you can because I think you've got your answer. And Chris Canty, that was a terrible take this morning. I love you. I love you, Chris. I listen to you every day. I rock with you. That's
just
my guy.
Fire the bullet right through him.
No, I was sitting there. I was like, he's on national radio saying this.
I know.
I couldn't believe it. Love you, Chris. Hopefully, come on the show. We'll debate it out, and I will prove you wrong. I guarantee that. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Bears versus Detroit next week. That's your it's the hometown team there, bud. It's going to be interesting. I need you guys to come out and I need the Bears offense to put up like 35. But if you could put a 60 piece on the board to just guarantee that Flus gets out of here.
I'm going to tell you 2 things that aren't going to happen. Both of those things.
Both of those?
Yeah. I actually think this is going to be an old school classic NFC North grindfest.
I really do.
Slobber knocker action?
Yeah. Can you say that? in 2024 slot receiver.
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. It sounds wrong.
Well, your mind is in a different place than mine, I guess.
Sometimes it does go there. Appreciate you guys tuning in and showing love. For Shea, Norling, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Bear down, one love. And Shea, I've got it on good authority that Kyle Shanahan punts seashells back into the ocean. Bad dude.
Oh, God.
Bad dude. You got to get him out.
That's horrible.
Got to get him out of there, bro. Bad dude.
I've heard horrible things, too. To be very slanderous. Keep it. I don't think he can be the head coach at San Francisco anymore. It's all I'll say based on what I've heard.
Listen, I've heard some bad things about this guy. I heard he fishes at SeaWorld.
You know what? He could be an axe murderer. He could coach Chicago Bears. That's what I know.
Peace, y'all.